Something that's on many people's bucket lists is to see the pyramids of Egypt. This is a practical guide for how to survive a trip to the pyramids. There are 43 pyramids in Egypt and at least 80 more in what's known as Sudan today. But when people talk about pyramids, they generally mean the big ones at Giza. This is where you find Menkaure's pyramid, Khafre's pyramid, and of course the Great Pyramid of Giza, Khufu's pyramid. The Great Pyramid was the tallest building in the world for almost 4,000 years, until the old St. Paul's Cathedral was built in London in 1240 AD. It's the only remaining ancient wonder of the world. The other 6 have been destroyed, but the Great Pyramid remains, and it will be here long after both you and I are gone. So you've decided that you want to visit the pyramids. How do you get there? The Giza plateau is in the outskirts of Cairo, on the west bank of the Nile and close to the Western Desert. In ancient times, Giza was a necropolis dedicated to the tombs of the pharaohs, and the location makes sense since it's west of the Nile River. The Nile was the source of life for Egyptians, and the land of the dead was said to lie to the west of there. And to the west lies the Western Desert and certain death. These days, Giza is a modern city and part of the sprawling metropolis that is Cairo. That's one of the things that surprise tourists when they visit the pyramids. They aren't located in a remote desert area. They're just around the corner from a bustling city. There are many ways to get to the pyramids. If you're staying in Hurghada or Sharm el-Sheikh, you can simply book a day trip to get here. It's a long bus ride though. Expect 7 hours to get here and 7 more to get back. It's a decent way to visit the pyramids, because you don't have to worry about transportation or booking tickets, but there's no flexibility at all. If you have a lot of cash, you could also book a private tour. That way you can customize your trip and you don't have to follow along with a bunch of other tourists. Or you could simply book a private taxi for the day and then a guide when you get here. That option is gonna cost you a bit though. I decided that I want to get to the pyramids early, so I booked a hotel in Giza itself. The Pyramids View Inn turned out to be a pretty great hotel. It's located right outside the pyramid complex, so you can sit on your balcony and look at the pyramids. I actually got the tip about the hotel from a pretty awesome Dale Phillip video. Great work, you bloody Scotsman! You could also stay at a hotel in Cairo, but don't book a pyramids tour in that case. There's public transport that will take you to Giza, and it's just a 15-minute walk from the Mashal station. If you decide to go by public transport or taxi, be careful if you're a woman. It's a real danger in Egypt. Don't go by yourself, and even if you're in a group, there could be a lot of sexual harassment. But I don't think you should let fear decide your decisions. Just be a bit extra careful. You're finally at Giza, so now you just have to buy a ticket and start enjoying the view, right? Not quite. This is when you'll start to notice all the merchants and scammers around the pyramids. Everyone you meet will try to sell you something, and everyone will try to sell it at exorbitant prices. My camel ride offers varied between 50 Egyptian pounds to 350 Egyptian pounds, and everyone will say that they're your best friend and it's Egyptian prices and not tourist prices. It will be exhausting, but just smile and say maybe later, and maybe later again because they won't listen the first time, and maybe later once more because maybe the third time's the charm. But just play along. If you fancy trying some Arabic, you can say khalas. It means I'm done or enough. But of course they won't listen, but you can try anyway. If you are interested in getting a scarf or a camel ride or something, then always haggle and start low. If they aren't extremely offended, then you started too high. And if you're not comfortable with haggling, well, then you're gonna get scammed. There are amazing people in Egypt. Many are extremely helpful and extremely honest. Just don't expect to meet those people here. As an example, I've had 2 different guards asking me for a bribe to film here, even though it's allowed to film. I had to talk to the police as well for my filming, but they didn't ask me for a bribe. They just said, "Oh, it's for YouTube, well, okay." Now it could be that I'm just an extremely friendly guy, but I had 2 different merchants trying to give me a free scarf. I of course didn't accept them. There's some scammy business going on there.
Welcome Swedish. I love the people from Stockholm. When you go in your country, you must tell the people come in Egypt. Egypt's a nice people, nice country. Welcome.
Good man. Very good man, very nice.
I was just given money by an Egyptian merchant. Do I look that poor? Khufu's pyramid, the biggest of the pyramids, was completed in 2560 BC. It was the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu, but everything inside has been looted and raided since thousands of years ago. You can visit the inside of the pyramid to see all the twisting passages, but they will ask you to leave your camera behind. You could always try to slip some money their way. Some bakshish has a tendency to make the illegal legal in Egypt. But then again, maybe it's best to respect these ancient monuments and not risk anything by bringing a camera. This pyramid was built with 2.3 million blocks of stone, dragged from a quarry to the south of here. The blocks are a combination of granite and limestone held together with mortar. In 2500 BC, the pyramids didn't look like this. They weren't step pyramids with clearly visible blocks. The blocks were covered with slabs of white limestone, completely flat, and at the top of the Great Pyramid there was a gigantic golden tip. It's hard to imagine what it must have looked like back then, all white and gold glistening in the sunlight. It must have been quite a magical sight. The smaller pyramids close to the Great Pyramid are for Khufu's wives. I only found the names of 2 of the wives, Meritites and Henutzen. Apparently no one really knows what the name of his second wife was. Khafre's pyramid looks bigger than Khufu's pyramid because it's located slightly higher up, but it's actually smaller in both volume and height. Khafre was the son of Khufu and his tomb was completed in 2570 BC. I get a slight suspicion that there was some rivalry going on there. Let's make my pyramid a little bit smaller than my father's, but can you place it here so it looks bigger? Menkaure's pyramid is the smallest of the 3 big pyramids, but it's still quite massive. He was the son of Khafre, and his tomb was completed around 2510 BC. Something else you shouldn't miss at Giza is of course the Sphinx. The Sphinx is an enormous monolithic sculpture that's missing a nose. There's a rumor that the nose was blown off by Napoleon Bonaparte when they shot at it with cannons, but that rumor is complete rubbish. The nose was actually lost somewhere between 200 and 900 AD. The Sphinx is said to represent Pharaoh Khafre, but the Sphinx isn't its original name. No one knows what the ancient Egyptians called it. It was the Greeks who named it the Sphinx 2000 years after it was built. It used to be common belief that the pyramids were constructed with slave labor, but that's been debunked these last few decades. The workers and stonemasons and engineers were all paid properly. They found lots of hieroglyphs detailing the accounting of workers' salaries. Apparently, workers were paid in beer, 45 liters per day. I bet that did wonders for productivity. There's a lot of tales surrounding the pyramids, from how they were constructed to that they contain ancient wisdom or that aliens are involved somehow. The pyramids are extremely impressive pieces of construction, so there's really no need to try to embellish these amazing tombs with supernatural details. Instead, let's just appreciate the last remaining wonder of the world and the culture that made it happen. There you have it. That was a quick look at what to expect from a visit to the pyramids. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day.